cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
First Reformed, directed by Paul Schrader, upon first glance may seem like a simple story about a washed-up pastor of a failing church. However, upon closer inspection, this film is about so much more. So much more, in fact, that you could spend hours upon hours discussing and analyzing the final moments of the film alone. Today, however, we will mainly focus on a major theme surrounding this movie. Environmental activism and religion may seem like odd choices for the central ideas surrounding a film. However, what these two topics share is crucial to understanding the underlying theme that this film is trying to portray. Within both environmental activists and religious groups, you will always have those who will go to drastic measures to share their viewpoints with the rest of the world. This is known as extremism. Extremism is defined as the holding of extreme political or religious views, and typically leads to violent behavior and harm to oneself or others. Throughout this movie, we see examples of extremist behavior and extreme environmental activism through a religious standpoint. This, coupled with the fact that the main character's ideals are constantly shifting throughout the film, demonstrates a consistent theme of extremism. Reverend Ernest Toller is the pastor of the First Reformed Church in Snowbridge, New York. The church is facing dwindling attendance under Toller's leadership, as he has moved the church in a new direction and away from its historical focus on Calvinist theology. Now the church serves mostly as a tourist attraction, with it once being a stop on the Underground Railroad. It is even referred to as the souvenir shop by some. In trying to manage his own life issues, such as his alcoholism and declining health, Toller seeks to try and find a deeper meaning to life. Eventually, Toller meets Mary, a member of First Reformed, who seeks counseling for her radical environmentalist husband, Michael. It is with his counseling session that Toller's life and ideologies begin to change radically. Before his counseling session with Michael, it is assumed that Toller has basic knowledge of climate change and the damage that is being done to the planet. However, he is not shown to dwell on it. Throughout the session, there's a lot of back and forth between Toller and Michael, with Michael listing off all the impacts that climate change will have on the Earth in the near future, and Toller listening and trying to help Michael rationalize what is happening. Michael asks if Toller believes in martyrdom.
You believe in martyrdom, Reverend?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
You know, the saints of God, the early Christians who wouldn't renounce their faith, the missionaries who were attacked in the fields of the Lord. Do you believe that they died for a purpose?
I do.
He then goes on to compare them to the environmental activists who were killed trying to protect the environment, his point being that they both died for their beliefs. This is the first time that religion is used to try and rationalize the extreme nature of the cause that Michael believes in. Unsurprisingly, there are many Bible verses scattered throughout this movie. Upon the first viewing of the movie, they may be glanced over and passed off as, well, just the religious aspect of the film. However, when you really look at the verses, they all have a double meaning. Near the end of the film, as his ideals have turned pretty radical, Toller tries on the suicide vest. As he does, he is heard reciting,
"Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world."
Although this Bible verse was not talking about putting on a suicide vest and blowing up a church full of powerful corporate executives, which is what Toller eventually plans to do, it talks about standing up against the devil. In this case, the armor of God is the suicide vest, and the devil's schemes refers to the companies that contribute to the harming of the environment. Revelations 11:18 is also quoted.
"The nations raged, but your wrath came, and the time for the dead to be judged, and for rewarding your servants and prophets and saints, and for those who fear your name, both small and great, and for destroying the destroyers of the earth."
In the context of the movie, the destroyers of the earth are those who are actively contributing to the destruction of the environment. Toller, at this point, believes that the only thing to do that is morally correct in the eyes of God is to kill those who kill the planet. The film is cognitively aware of the underlying theme of extremism. It even ironically pins the theme down on a group of teens and talks about their extreme viewpoints with no room for other ideas. In reality, it's not just the teens who think this way, but eventually Toller himself, who makes the initial comment about how radical today's youth can be. The progression of how extremism takes root is demonstrated through Toller's behavior. During their counseling session, Michael asks Toller, "Can God forgive us for what we have done to this world?" To which Toller doesn't know how to respond. However, as the film progresses, the question comes up multiple times, and each time that Toller answers it, his responses become more and more passionate.
Can God forgive us? For what we've done to this world?
Who can know the mind of God?
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will God forgive us? Will God forgive us for what we're doing to his creation? That's what Mensana asked me when I visited him.
There's been a lot of loose talk about environmental change.
There's scientific consensus, 97%.
And what of his creation? The heavens declare the glory of God. God is present everywhere, in every plant, every river, every tiny insect. The whole world is a manifestation of his holy presence. I think this is an issue where the church can lead, but they say nothing. The U.S. Congress still denies climate change. Where were we when these people were elected?
In summation, one of the main themes of First Reform, extremism, is explored through the use of topics of religion and environmental activism. This film serves as an excellent wake-up call to those who have sat dormant on the issue of climate change and environmental crisis. It takes a unique approach to showing the downfall of a character's mental and physical well-being, and Toller himself makes for a very interesting character study. This film shows that you never know what will influence your actions and ideas in life, and that even if we are pretty set in our beliefs, they can always change. Sometimes, all it takes is just one person.
Blessedness, what a peace is mine. Lead